Hey, Circle Youth, man, it's so great to see you guys again. Welcome here. Thanks for being here. Last week, we started the series by talking about New Year's resolutions. Now, did you know that after 2 weeks, most people have already given up on their New Year's resolutions? So by the end of January, fewer than 25% of people are still committed to their goals. Less than 25%. That's because achieving our goals is hard work. I don't have to tell you guys that. Even when we make detailed plans and have the best intentions, man, it takes strength, it takes commitment, and it takes perseverance to follow through. Now, I don't know what your goals are right now. Maybe they're spiritual goals or physical goals, mental goals, relational goals. Maybe they're even God-sized goals. But what I want you to do with your small group right now is to share the most difficult goal that you've ever accomplished. So go ahead, take just a few minutes and share with your group. Everyone take a moment to share. What's the most difficult goal that you've ever accomplished? Go ahead. Whatever goals you have right now, well, I've got some good news and some bad news. The bad news. Look, if you haven't already, you're going to experience opposition, frustration, and a lack of motivation on your way to achieving your goals. Now, some good news. There's hope when your goals are too much to handle on your own. You see, when things get difficult and you feel weak or discouraged, how do you keep pursuing your goals and finish strong? Well, let's see what the story of Nehemiah has to show us. Now, if you weren't here with us last week, it's all good. It all started with the city of Jerusalem, the home of the Jewish people, right? So long ago, the city of Jerusalem was destroyed by an enemy army, right? And God promised the Jewish people that they would one day return to Jerusalem. The Jewish people slowly began rebuilding Jerusalem. Although there were people living in Jerusalem, Nehemiah learned that the walls were falling down. They were just breaking down. Now, Nehemiah wanted to repair the walls to honor God and protect his people. And so for months, Nehemiah prayed, he planned, and he prepared. Nehemiah asked the king to let him repair the walls, and the king said yes. So Nehemiah recruited a bunch of people, a team to help. But here's the thing, not everyone was excited about his idea. Once Nehemiah arrived in Jerusalem, he got straight to work. He convinced tons of people living in Jerusalem to work together and repair the city walls. But you see, there were some mad haters. There were some people that just weren't impressed. They were just bent on causing disruption and discord. So these guys, they called them weak. They mocked the quality of their work. They mocked their pain. They mocked their beliefs. And they tried to crush their hope. And even though Nehemiah and his team were being obedient to God, they still had to deal with haters. Now, what I want you to do with your group, with your small group, is share one difficult goal that you're working on right now and what challenges you're currently facing in getting there. So go ahead, share with your group, and we'll be right back. Nehemiah and his team handled this opposition and frustration in a few ways. You see, Nehemiah didn't get distracted. He didn't fight with these guys. He didn't add to their drama. He didn't even respond. You see, Nehemiah took it to God. He asked God to hear his prayers and make it right. And he wasn't afraid to be honest with God about what he was feeling. He wanted those guys to pay. He wanted them to be punished. And Nehemiah kept going. He and his team kept building, no matter what those guys had to say. You see, they rebuilt the wall to half its original height, and everyone poured their hearts into it. And I just think that's amazing. That's so amazing. Now, I wish I could tell you Nehemiah's opposition ended there, but it didn't. He faced even more obstacles in chapters 5 and 6, both from his enemies and from his fellow Jewish people. And at one point, Nehemiah received a series of terrifying letters and death threats. You see, these men did not want Nehemiah to finish this wall. But watch how Nehemiah reacts. He says, "Strengthen my hands." You see, Nehemiah prayed. He could have asked God for anything, but he simply asked for strength to finish the work. He said, "Strengthen my hands." Now, I want to talk to you about a time in my life where I really needed some extra strength. You see, it was in 2017. I was faced with a crossroads of sorts. You see, I could continue my path towards medical school. That was my goal at the time. I passed my MCAT exams, but there was something inside of me that just felt like it wasn't the right direction for my life. You see, I was trying to find myself during this time. I was trying to figure out what my purpose is. Now, for a while, I'd been feeling this push to go to Bible college. And, who knows, maybe one day work in a church, but I just brushed it off as being unrealistic. It came with its own set of challenges. And to be honest, there was a lot of pressure on me to become a doctor, a dentist, or a lawyer, something with a bit of a higher pay grade, I guess you could say. Now, long story short, I needed the strength to make the right decision. I knew what it was, but it was hard to get there. But you see, unlike Nehemiah, my opposition was actually myself. I was constantly doubting and wrestling and questioning my purpose and my abilities and what the future would hold. That I let go of trust in God, and I tried to rely on my own strength. Well, I eventually figured out that wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to cut it. So I asked God for strength. I asked him for wisdom, and I asked him for guidance. And I went to Bible college. I finally drummed up the courage to tell my parents, even though it was a week before classes started, I got a degree, and now I get to do this. My goal was to find meaning and purpose in my life and what I did, and now I do. That was a goal of mine. You see, just like Nehemiah planned to experience opposition, we should expect to face difficulties when we're pursuing God-sized goals. But here's the good news that I promised. No matter what the world throws at us, God gives us strength to pursue God-sized goals. So what's one of your goals? Are you thinking of something right now? Do you have one of your goals in mind? Is there something that you want to do, that you want to become or change, but you're facing opposition? So what's one goal you're working on right now that requires some extra courage, determination, or strength? I want you to go ahead and conclude your small group time with that question. What's one goal that you're working on right now that requires some extra courage, determination, or strength? And we'll see you guys next week.